All right. Okay, now for the reason that you all clicked on this, let's get real. Today's guest is a comedic powerhouse. She's one of the hardest working ladies in comedy, and I'm lucky enough to call her one of my very best friends, Miss Nikki Glaser, here for the hang.
Thank you, Carlisle. It is so good to be on your show, and it's so
You cringed a little with that intro.
because it was so nice. That's the only reason I cringed, because it was like the word powerhouse was really nice, and I do feel it most days. And I'm feeling it at this moment. Yeah, no, I know. You're right. It's a nice reminder. But the hardest working, I felt like, oh, maybe I used to be, but I'm kind of let go of that. And so I think that was the cringe, just because it's like, oh God, I don't want to have to live up to that, because working hard kind of is really hard.
I'm only comparing you to me, and I smoke weed all day. So does that make you feel better?
So hard. Look how well lit you are. So much thought and production went into. You are working very hard on this.
It's hard to polish a turd. Lighting is very, very important on this show.
It's important in general. You are smart and savvy, and you work very hard. You are someone whose work ethic, you know what it is? It's, you might not look at it as work ethic, but your ambition, and you're like, that's a great idea. Let's do that. Nikki, you need this. Nikki, do this. Like that kind of energy you have, where it's like, let's just go to that thing. Like you're very, you're open to new things, and like you're down to have fun and like capitalize on good, fun, like
experiences, life experiences.
Yeah, you like those, and
which have been taken from us in quarantine. But
I know how are you doing with that? Because you love doing things, and you can't do anything right now.
I have to say, last week when you were in town, it almost felt kind of normal for a second. Because in case y'all didn't know, this woman guest hosted Jimmy Kimmel last week and killed it. And so, by proxy, I got to go along and have like a showbiz week right along with you. That's very lucky on my part. What?
Oh, no, you're always there along for the ride. I think everything I do in LA, you've always
ever since Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, so for the past 2 years, you've been a ride or die LA. You picked me from my first Rogan. You dropped me off at my first Rogan. You've been at all the Conans. What else? We've done some fun stuff. And then Dancing with the Stars was just like, I couldn't have done it.
That was the lock. That was when we bonded. Because look, nobody knows. What?
I wish I would have lasted longer just for us.
Right? Just for us. But we had the month of our life. We were living like fucking LC and Low circa 2003, living in the palazzos.
People, open up the window, on a little bit
you cannot find, reaching for something in the distance, even though you're gonna get kicked off in episode 2, which really was the first chance anybody could get voted off, and you went right then.
Oh my God!
No one else went up before you did.
It's just you finally did it. You were kind of on the show, but really not at all. No one will remember you. You can probably do it again.
Okay, if that was too inside for y'all, we're referencing Dancing with the Stars, season 27, baby.
Yeah, season 27.
If you want to go back and listen to all of those memories, we covered all of that on your radio show / podcast. We got to plug You Up with Nikki Glaser.
All of those shows are like nowhere to be found, because
we have the You Up pod though, if people want to go back and listen.
Yeah, I think we've covered it all. You can go dig it out and hear our experience. But yeah, that was like the best time in my career, was doing Dancing with the Stars. And like it is true. Like I went too soon. I burned too bright.
Listen, the comedian always goes first. Jeff Ross went first. Margaret Cho, how long did she last?
I think she lasted longer. They don't always go first. They didn't know what to do with me, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And I was so freaking injured. I probably, it would have just, I mean, I was spiraling at the end there. Like,
And
I
that's what
went
people didn't show.
emotionally, and the
Yeah.
producers knew it. I mean, like, I couldn't hide that I was like, couldn't handle that show. But I was like, also like, this is great TV. I'm having a fucking breakdown. Film this shit.
And they debated whether or not to show it because look, on Dancing with the Stars, this is what y'all don't know. Everybody's injured. Okay, but they pick and choose to show which injuries they're gonna do. Like it could be bad if they showed her injury, right? Because then they don't want to be liable if she gets more hurt. So it could have been a little bit of that why you got voted off first because they didn't.
They showed what's her Nancy McKeon's like X-ray, and they were like, she has a fractured heel and she's performing the waltz, and it's like they would show it right as they were in her intro package. With some people, they were very. You're right, like. They can address the injury, whereas me, I mean, I guess it was up to me what I showed them, but I was kind of steered in the direction of pretend everything's okay.
This is what we couldn't show, okay? If we would have had our own reality show like The Hills.
That's what I'm saying. It would have been amazing TV to show.
I keep referencing that because Glaze and I lived in the apartment where LC and Lo lived. So we're living in the palazzos in West LA, like living our, LA dreams. She's literally going live this night. Okay. This is the morning of whenever you were going to dance live on TV for the first time.
September 26, 2018.
It was our September 11th though. And I woke up to her screaming, Carlo, Carlo, Carlo. And I run into the room. You're naked with your arms like over like this. Cause she couldn't even put her bra on. Her sports bra. This is whenever she's supposed to dance live on TV that night.
Yeah, that night.
So this is what they don't show on the show, y'all.
Well, yeah, that was. I mean, I was so sad the night before. I think it was the 2 nights leading up to the finale. My parents got in town, and I was so depressed. I mean, I wanted to jump off the palazzo.
When they got into town, I just have to say I was so happy. Like I was just like, here, like you. Help, please, because you guys don't understand the level of stress and like nobody understands until they're in that kind of vacuum.
I know, they were so freaked out when they saw me. They were like, oh my God, our daughter is in distress. And like, I mean, that wasn't like a chill mood to be in constantly. And I probably should have been kicked off because like I was spiraling. Like my partner and I weren't really talking or communicating well. It felt like a marriage that had kind of gone south, even though we were like so good at one point, like it just, it's such a manipulative show.
You're just trying to get back to the good days.
Intentionally and unintentionally. Yes, exactly. Where it was like, I loved this guy 3 days ago. And now I'm like, I think he hates me and doesn't believe in me. And he was so frustrated at me because I was having such insane self-esteem issues, like on this like crazy, like just going back and forth between like, I've got this, I'm going to be fine, to like, I'm the ugliest person that's ever lived. I'm going to look ridiculous being dressed on this show. Like I'm like this aging Barbie, like there's no old Barbies. No one wants that. And I felt like just wearing the outfit I was wearing, I was like, am I one of these old women that doesn't know they're old? Like, that's going to happen at some point.
I feel like that every time I post an Instagram picture and lose 30 followers.
Do you lose every time you post?
I mean, yeah, if it's a sexy picture, sometimes I feel like people are like, ugh, what does she think she's doing? Or it's guys being like, ugh, she's not hot enough to follow.
That sucks if they do that. Follow out of kindness for this aging woman who doesn't know it.
Look, aging Barbie is coming, okay? If we got fat Barbie now and we got every ethnicity, where's the aging grandma Barbie? Because I don't feel seen.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. If we are going to, have every kind of ability Barbie and...
Barbie's in a wheelchair before she's wrinkles, okay? What the fuck?
I want a sagging vagina. I know there is no vagina, but I would like you to add a sagging one to it, to Barbie. Just to really, I will feel more represented if, Barbie's face is falling off her skull.
Yeah.
That would be nice. I know that's going to be extra. I'll pay more for that Barbie because it has more detail in it. Just draw some lines. Some of these old dolls, they just like draw lines, like gray lines. So you can do that. Or just
Oh
make
my God.
shoes. Her foot becomes flat again, or it becomes like buniony. I mean, it already is shaped like a shoe, so it's kind of what happens to our feet anyway.
Now, how are your bunions doing? Because you're on Wiki Feet, and thanks to you, that is
You're
my
hitting on
only
all the things you
paparazzi.
was gonna get. You're hitting on all the things that are gonna get clicks. This is clickbait. Nikki Glaser
Listen,
talking about her feet because feet guys are ride or die. Like
I didn't know about Wiki Feet. I
dude,
didn't even know.
feet, you've got a fan base for life.
Okay, well, this
Especially
is
my
the
feet, because my feet look like they're going to look when I'm 80 already.
and there's a type for that. There's a fetish. But this
I
is how I
know.
found out that
I have to hide
there
them
was
on
Wiki
Instagram.
Feet. Okay, speaking of Dancing with the Stars, this is the only paparazzi photo that exists of me online, and
Yeah,
I'm standing
right on.
behind Glaze, and we're like walking out of the Dancing with the Stars rehearsal, and they're like, Nikki, Nikki, and she like turns around, and I'm like, huh? And it's on Wiki Feet live and forever because I guess your
It's a great
feet
photo
are in
of me.
it. Are your feet even in that?
Yeah, I had flip flops on, but I had a great outfit. It was such a cute outfit. I was like carrying an iced coffee. That's like maybe one of my favorite shots because I just look like very like myself in it. And then you're in the background too. I couldn't even tell you what you were doing because I was just looking at myself in the photo.
Well, I kind of look like a goiter on your neck. Like I'm just popping out the side. Like I'm almost unrecognizable. But yeah, I have friends. There's female comedians that have their shit up on Wiki Feet, and then I guess they get hit up by guys to pay them. Have you heard of this?
I think I've been offered money for foot stuff, and I always just say to them,
Give it
I
to
don't want
PETA.
to disappoint you. What?
You do it for PETA.
Yeah, I would do
Give it all
anything.
to charity.
Yeah, that actually is a good idea. Foot photos for charity for animals.
It's like what that nude
I show
model
you
did for
hooves for
Australia.
hooves. What?
It's like what that nude model did for Australia.
Oh, she did like a campaign.
She sold nude pictures of herself and then gave it to the
Nope.
fires.
Ever give you shit for getting paid to like either do porn or foot like just weird sex stuff or topless stuff if you always donated the money. If you were doing it only for the animals. That is a brilliant way to be able to do that stuff. I think I've aged out of doing that kind of stuff though. I don't think I want anyone to I mean, I do look good naked still, but I don't know if I want it out there forever. I feel like I'm a little bit more private when it comes to that stuff. But if there is a leak, I'm proud of anything that comes out.
That's only for your fans. Only fans. It's right there. Click on it if you want to.
I would do that if there was a way to guarantee that only they see it and they can't screenshot it and it's for a split second. And like I would, not that I would do it, but it's like that would be more like they'll just screenshot it and share it.
Yeah. That's kind of like with my podcast. Go check it out right there, Patreon. It's like my OnlyFans, but for my thoughts. So I'm pretty candid on there, and I'm just hoping that nobody records it and cancels me since we live in Pitchfork society.
Oh, right. I thought you were talking about the music blog Pitchfork. I really did. I was like, is that a society? But of just like being very I don't know. They seem to be brutal. I think Taylor Swift got like a really good review on Pitchfork though, and that's like unheard of.
They're
like,
the end all be all,
right? Like they're like the coolest. Like they know it's cool, and they gave her like nearly perfect. Do you love Folklore?
I love August is my favorite song, like
Isn't
on repeat.
Can we just talk about it for a second because I haven't been talking about it with anyone, and I know that people will love this and appreciate this, and I've been wanting to get this out there. We should talk about Folklore because this would be a great segment because people want info. It'll get you hits.
Yes.
Watch this. Swifties, I see you. Okay, let's talk about Folklore. And have you really gotten into it?
Yeah. So, okay, I've given the whole first half complete song listens. The second half, I haven't gotten through.
Like, okay, so the answer to that is no. You haven't gotten really into it. But that's okay because this could be for anyone who just started listening to the album. Listen, we all were in Carlisle's shoes at one point and having not binged it yet. But can I tell where I am with August is probably on my 200th listen, I'm guessing.
Okay.
And I'm not joking. Like I'm obsessed with it to a point of like, I'm having like a love affair with August. And August is about a love affair.
Tell me what it's about because I know you know.
Yes. Okay. So here's the thing. There are 3 songs that they think on the album are like a trilogy. So she put out this statement before she released the album that she's like been imagining tons of stuff during quarantine, and like she's just been flooded with like imagery and stories, and so she said that this album is like not as personal. Like it is personal, but it's like these are characters that I want you guys to meet and then carry on their folklore. And so
Is that why they're named like Betty and Veronica?
Okay. So it's complicated, but and I don't know have all the details. Yes, exactly. Oh, Inez is another name. Betty, Inez, James, and possibly August is the name of the other character. But it is so the songs August, Cardigan, and Betty are told from the 3 different perspectives of a love triangle, which Betty is the girl who gets cheated on. August is the other woman, and James, he or she is the one who cheats on
So
August.
these are all connected.
On Betty with August.
Those 3 songs are connected?
Yes, and Inez is just a gossip at the school who tells Betty that he or she and that James and August have been fooling around. And all the songs are connected. You get different clues about their storyline through the songs. It's pretty brilliant. And then there are other songs peripherally that might also fit into that trilogy. But August,
which one is Inez in?
Inez is in Betty.
Okay.
And it's a great, cute song, and it really sounds like early Taylor Swift, like just high.
A lot of this does. Do you think she unearthed some old songs? Because this is like a 17-year-old girl singing.
I know it. You know what it feels like is the equivalent of the movie Now and Then. It's like that soothing and nostalgic of being a child or being in high school. And the song Betty is really just adorable. But August, I mean, it's so beautiful. It sounds like really a throwback to like 90s, like the guitar in the beginning, like the kind of just the vibe of it is like a lot of people are saying it's like Sixpence None the Richer, like kiss me.
Yes,
yeah. It feels like it should be in She's All That or 10 Things I Hate About You. And I thought that immediately when I read it. And then it turns out that Kiss Me is the first song that Taylor Swift ever learned on the guitar. And so it's like she does these things where she like throws back to little clues she's left behind, where it's like, oh, we know that she likes that song. The song is kind of like a throwback to it. And it's just...
and who is she dating now? Is this album about anybody current?
No. So a lot of it is just about this woman, Rebecca, who is nicknamed Betty, who she imagines as Betty, this character in high school, which I don't know what that whole high school trilogy is from, but the song, this Great American, American Dynasty, Great American Dynasty, the last Great American Dynasty is about this woman, Rebecca, who like moves into this house, and she's from St. Louis, and she's moved, which I was just like, oh my God, I love that detail so much. So she goes to this like cottage or house in Rhode Island, which is the, and she runs amok in this like town that's like hoity-toity and like too good. And she's like kind of trashed from outside, and she marries into this like community and like really raises, and it's like this party animal, a party girl, and gets labeled like this mad woman, when she's just really having a ball. But she's also kind of a tragic character. But that is the woman that lived in Taylor Swift's house that she bought in Rhode Island before Taylor Swift lived there. So Taylor Swift kind of heard her history and heard about her, the folklore of this woman, and then wrote this album kind of exploring her.
And is she like a mother to her?
No.
Because she has a lyric that's like, you're like a mother to me. You're like a mother to me or something.
Oh, I don't know what that is. There's so many lyrics right now that I have to memorize. Like a new Taylor Swift album dropping is like a part-time job for me in terms of like how much work not that I have to put into it, but that I want to put into it. I just become so obsessed.
It's important. With everything going on today, this is important stuff.
When I play the song August, I disappear into a song. Like I am transported into like it almost is like orgasmic how good some of that song feels. And it's so rare for me that I get this attached to a song. Like it's happened probably like where I've like fallen in love with a song. That's how I like feel about songs sometimes.
But I love how you know all the lyrics to the point where like you pointed out to me a Taylor Swift song that is mine and my boyfriend's song, and you were like, this should be your and Chase's song. And by the way, if we ever do get married, you're going to lip sing that at our wedding, and you're going to have the best time because the lyrics It's the
What
song
song?
Daylight. It's
Oh
called
my God.
Daylight,
It's off Lover. And every
and
time I
it's
heard it, I just
so
kept
good.
thinking of you guys, because sometimes I will like give my friend, I'm like, you need to listen to this song because it'll really fit your life and you'll like love to think about your life. This song, because some songs for her don't fit my life, so I have to pawn them off. But yeah, what's the line in that? And I can still see it all in my mind. There's one lyric in it that was very much
It's
about you
like,
guys, just about finding your right
I don't
person.
want to see. I don't want to see anything else now that I saw you. I don't want
I
to
don't
be
want to
anything
think
else.
of
Yeah.
anything else now that
Now that
I
I
thought of
thought
you.
of you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like finding the one, and it's all about that. I mean, that song is probably about Joe, her boyfriend
Because
now.
I lived in a lot of different cities, and it's like my love was as cool or cruel as the cities I lived in. Okay, now we're just singing along Taylor Swift.
I'm like, so good.
We'll have the lyrics and the bouncing ball if you want to sing along at the bottom.
Yeah. Oh
No,
my God. That's what I should. I would just did Maria Menounos' show, and she was like, just follow things that like resonate with you. Like only do things that are completely like make you feel alive. And I'm like, yeah, like I don't want to do anything that I'm not like yes about, you know?
yeah.
And then I assisted, and I was like, I'm only yes about like doing Taylor Swift reaction videos. Like I'm like, that's what I keep imagining doing, and like will set me free creatively. I mean, that's
Well,
why I
you're
want
the go-to reviewer because you know the story of every song. Like I never
I'm
know
not
the
as
ins
good
and
as
outs.
some people, but I study. I have to I read on Reddit, and I'm actually getting into like the folklore of Taylor, and there's a lot to unpack because she's just a great artist. I just really am so inspired by like I like Easter eggs. I she does a lot of callbacks to just stuff like that she knows her fans learned about her 10 years ago, and it's fun, the relationship she has with her fans
And you were
through.
in the documentary.
Yeah, I was in her documentary. Like I'm almost like I don't even. I obviously wish I wasn't. I don't
It's
really hold
bad
that.
if you don't know the backstory. So Glaze they used a soundbite where she's kind of insulting Taylor, which by the way would have to be the one out of a million glowing, amazing things that you've said about her. Like the
Yeah,
one time you said something that was like kind of negative, they pulled it and they played it in this documentary where you're calling her like too
yeah.
skinny
And
or
I don't know
something.
if that was the only like. Obviously, I didn't know what I was saying, and I think I just was so unaware of how my jealousy would manifest itself and my own insecurity that I think I just said a lot of things early in my career that I'm just like, shut up, like
Look, sometimes,
I like keep it to yourself, and don't you know where
yeah.
this is coming from? Like it's just, and I was annoyed at the clip because it wasn't funny. Like if I was making a joke, maybe you could justify it, but it just was like, it just sucked because,
Because you're such a fan. And they
well, I
made it,
didn't care that people like knew that I was not bad. I just wanted her to know that how much she means to me, and that was like not something I would do to a friend. Like if that got out to a friend, like if I was talking about you that way behind your back, which essentially doing something on like a little BuzzFeed show, you go, oh, that's behind Taylor Swift's back. She's not going to see that. I don't
right.
think I would never do that if I thought she would see it. But guess what? She saw it, and that was like, oh no, my friend found out I was talking shit about them. I need to make it right, even though we're not friends. But like, I love her so much that I would never want to like make her feel bad. And that's why I wrote the thing, because that was the only way to get in touch with Taylor Swift was to make it public.
Yeah. And she responded in full force.
Yeah, she wrote the nicest freaking note
So
with
kind.
like so many exclamation marks. And I just knew she writes how she talks. So I could like, I mean, the fact that she wrote anything to me, like Taylor Swift's writing means so much to me that even a comment, I'm like, she wrote me a comment. Like it feels like
Yeah.
it's, and she doesn't like just do things and like send them off. Like she's thoughtful about stuff. So she thought to do that. And
Yeah.
it like meant so much to me.
So is that kind of your online experience that you wish is something that was not there, that comment? Because I told you today we're going to do this as a little segment. I'm learning this too.
The
You
internet.
guys, we're loose-lipped on these podcasts and on these shows. We're trying to entertain y'all. Okay? We're not always thinking about everything that comes out of our mouth 100% of the time, right?
You don't, yeah, sometimes you think, Okay, you're setting up a clip that I don't think you need to set up this way, but it is embarrassing and could go viral of a girl beatboxing.
No, I'm saying yes. Okay, so this is what I'm about to tell y'all.
It is embarrassing, but I think you should be proud, and that's all I'm going to say to preface it.
The internet is a cruel place, and the fact that nobody's seen the clip now, but we're about to show it to y'all because it lives online forever, and it's out there, and it makes me cringe.
What? Get ahead of it.
Yeah, I got to get ahead of it, and who better to get ahead of it with than Nikki Glaser, the Queen Roaster, who's only going to have horrible things to say about this clip. Let me just pull it up.
Don't set it up that way. I haven't written roast jokes for this yet, but I'll try to be as mean as possible.
Yeah. It's pretty bad, y'all. So I did this show just to set it up. And can you see the screen, Nikki, or no?
Yes, you're screen sharing.
So I did this show, and you never know how these things are going to turn out, okay? You're trying to be funny. You're trying to be entertaining. I knew that there was going to be a question to come up about a special skill. Why I picked to do this, I don't know. But please don't cancel me for cultural appropriation because I've been beatboxing since I was a child.
Since you were a child?
I used to love to make these noises. Okay, let me just...
Clear, you've had a lot of practice.
You also have a secret special skill. Ugh. Some people like to call it beatboxing.
Yes, I'm a beatboxer. I know you wouldn't think I'm a beatboxer. That's what I'm known for.
But, surprises, full of surprises.
Okay, so I'll try a little something.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh my God.
So the first time I do it, they're kind enough to not show me on camera.
Doing it, but
then, for some reason, later in the show, I do it again. And this time they show me.
It's so good. This is when it's good. The other one's impressive too. You're so adorable.
At least it's well lit because listen, then it goes to show this slideshow of my Instagram, which I didn't choose any of these photos.
That's a really good photo.
This looks like I'm a substitute teacher. That's what this headshot is supposed to book me as.
Yeah, you look like your name is Ruth.
I really do. Like, it's the cheesiest thing to live online forever. And can I just tell y'all, hang on. Okay, I really didn't know this before. How do you get back to the regular view? I didn't know that before whenever you beatbox. Where am I, babe? Put it back. I didn't know that you're supposed to cover your mouth. So, like, whenever you see people rapping in rap videos, there's a reason they're, like, going like this. Because you look like an idiot.
Yeah, and it muffles it so it's not yours. You were, like, queefing out of your, like, it just sounded like yeah.
Why did I not go like this? Every wrinkle is fucking shown. It's not they try to save me with the first cut. They're like, we're not going to show this. We don't know why she did this. And then the second time, that was unprompted, like in the interview.
I think in a different setting, it would be totally appropriate to display that skill. But the setting for it is just so awkward. And it looks so like cable access, you know, like it's bright, like it's not I think it's a great moment, but it's prime to go viral. Like that could actually get made fun of a lot.
Fading in and out like that too, like with the music, it's just so cheesy. And I remember whenever I got this, like my manager was like, you don't have to do this. I'll do anything though. I was just like, yes, of course I'm going to do it. Whatever, I'll do it. And see, this is why you don't do everything, because you don't have a choice in how it turns out.
Yeah, that's exactly true. Yeah, I do so many podcasts where I'm just like, and even this one, like where I have no control. I might say something on here and then it's up to you. Like, you know, people are normally understanding and you're like, well, could you cut the beatbox moment? I think that was a little awkward and it won't read right. Like you can, and they'll do it, but you didn't do that.
We could have cut one of them. We could have gone without.
I know. The second one's actually pretty good. I'm actually impressed. So you were doing the bass note and on top of that?
Yeah.
That's fucking impressive.
And it's just that song that I know. I can't do that with a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you had to learn that like specifically for sure.
That's like the song that every high school band plays to like pump
Yes,
up the
it brought me
basketball.
back to Friday Night Lights. Yeah. Dun, dun, dun,
But do you have a moment like this?
I know exactly what. Wait, how do you learn how to do that? Will you do it right now? Just the one with the bass note under it. Now cover it up and make it look cool.
Okay, so I've been doing this since I was a child, but
What are your lips doing? That's cool. See, I honestly think it's awesome. That's a talent.
Now I've done it 3 times online. It lives forever.
Yeah,
What the fuck?
It's you to put this out there this time.
I'm gonna put it out because I have to shame myself whenever I make these bad choices. But you've got to have things.
Well, I regret the Steve Harvey show was a regret. I did a dating segment on the show, but I don't really regret it because it was funny. But
why do you regret that? Because you had to work with Steve Harvey.
The day was not. What'd you say?
Because you had to work with Steve Harvey.
No. It was just a long ass day, and I didn't have a friend there to.
You asked me to go that day, and I had to work. I remember. Specifically.
It would have been so nice to have a friend. I think that truly is why I did not enjoy myself, because I had no one to go oh my God, what is going on here? And I was wearing an outfit I really didn't like, and many other factors. It was a dating segment. I was gonna be going on a date with a guy after a series of rounds where they were eliminated, Bachelor style, but 20 minutes or less, 5 minutes. And I ended up with a guy who's really nice, who I'm friends with. He's a comedian in New York named Mark Gerber, and we went on a date. And I was kind of mad because I was oh, he's a comedian. Of course I get the fucking comic, because he didn't say it on the thing. But it just was. Then we went to the date, and it was just rushed and not real, and it just was what is this? And it just. I think if I would have had a friend, I would have had a good time, and it would not be the thing I regret. But that is just doing anything that you're this is a waste of my time. But I don't know. I'm sure I'm trying to think of embarrassing appearances. I don't really regret anything, because it's funny, and oh well.
Oh well.
I hate the way I look in certain things, and I wish those didn't exist. But also those, I'm just well, I thought I looked good in the moment, and who cares? And I still lived my life, and everything was fine.
Yeah.
I look gross now in comparison to me. But then I thought I looked cool. I don't think I ever did anything thinking I looked gross. I mean, sometimes you just feel gross.
Well, lucky you, because no. I worry more about things I've said on podcasts and stuff too. I mean, you know this. I'm obsessed with cancel culture.
Yeah.
Because I'm from Mississippi and I have a Southern accent, and most things that I say just sound racist.
Okay, well then you get canceled. I mean,
the accent.
Yeah, it automatically does. I know, but unless you are, I don't worry about. I mean, there are things I've said too, but I'm I feel not that I can apologize my way out of it, but I would hope that sensibility would prevail, and that I would be able to work again, because I would amend whatever wrongs I had made in saying what I said. I don't the Taylor Swift thing, I don't want to make people feel sad. So if I made a whole group of people feel sad or marginalized based on something I did, and I truly felt I don't feel that way anymore, I would just say that.
I have to say, I commend you for that, because you're not one of these people that's I say what I say, fuck it if you don't like it.
One is. I love that, those people, the people who say I'm never going to apologize for any joke. That is, first of all, that's ridiculous. So you've always.
Joan Rivers used to say that. Joan Rivers was a big, you never apologize for a joke. But hey, if it hurts somebody's fucking feelings.
But I don't think that she was smart enough to say that. These dumb guys who say I'm not going to apologize for anything. You're stupid. You should. you should leave a lot of space to be able to apologize, because you're going to mouth off and say the dumbest stuff because you get a big head, you feel invincible, and you're not that smart. And eventually you will have to put out too much material too soon, and it will get in the way. Like, that's when I think people don't want to apologize.
Mm-hmm.
But don't even think about the things that like you're doing now. Think about the things you might have to apologize for that you said before. Just know that I thought Eliza Schlesinger did such a good job with Schlesinger. I always say her name wrong. Eliza Schlesinger. I want to get it right because I think I've said it wrong for years, and it's so not okay. So anyway, her monologue on Kimmel was great about cancel culture of like, you should be able to apologize and be like, I learned something from that. I'm not that person anymore. I'm like, you should be like, I like read books. Like, I do things. Like, it's a way to tell people that you've evolved. Everyone should be evolving and changing.
Yeah.
I think. And apologizing constantly for everything. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I've had to learn, well, in my case, actually, it's like unlearn things, because being from Mississippi, and thank God that they took that Confederate flag out of our state flag, because for years, like for my whole lifetime, they've been voting to do that, and it always gets voted against. So thank God they finally did that. But like for the longest time, that Confederate flag and that rebel flag, it was the Ole Miss flag. So whenever I was like a little girl, the first time I saw that, I didn't think like hate, Confederacy, slavery. I just thought, oh, go Ole Miss. Like, that's all that's in my brain about a Confederate flag from like the time I'm a child. So for a while, I mean, I want to find this picture so bad. One of my birthday cakes one year was the Confederate flag because it was an Ole Miss birthday party. And I go, I want an Ole Miss flag, and I ordered that myself at like 5. Do you think I was thinking about the Confederacy? No, I wanted an Ole Miss themed birthday with an Ole Miss flag. If I could find that picture, canceled. Carlisle Forrester. Canceled at the age of 8.
And it was bad when you like shoved you guys like you had. Never mind. It was that one. It doesn't work. The joke doesn't work. Never mind.
So
this is territory. I'm trying to make jokes, and I'm like, not worth it.
But what I'm saying is, so fine. I didn't know that then, but so unlearn that now. And I'm making a joke of it to let you know that like I have unlearned it. And there were so many things like that.
Yeah, like. That is the tricky territory though, is like being like, these people that do blackface, and you're just like, how did you not know not to do that like 7 years ago? But like, it just wasn't the same as it is now. And we just have to acknowledge it's so hard for us to like try to understand where our minds were at another time. And if you were doing it to hurt someone, like, then fuck you. But if that wasn't your intent, I feel like we should be able to forgive people. I don't forgive a lot of Me Too guys, because I'm like, your intent, this wasn't accidental. You were a predator. You were weird. You made people uncomfortable knowing that you did. But if someone didn't really know the implications of what blackface means to the African-American community and what it symbolizes and how hurtful it is, you should be able to apologize for having made someone feel that way. But I would forgive someone if they do an apology for that, because you're like, that didn't come from a place of hate, I hope.
Yeah.
So it all stems back to like, are you a dirtbag or not? Like, do you hate other human beings? Are you hateful? Are you like hateful inside, like deep at your core or not? And
I just think you a dirtbag? I don't want to off in the comments.
Like there are some people like I'm like, yes, cancel them. Bye. I never want to hear any of your music ever again. And I know I've enjoyed it in the past.
Name names.
I mean, I don't want to, because these people have such fervent followings that get so upset if you say anything bad about them. But, men who have abused women on record, I have a hard time enjoying their hits. Even
their movies and their comedy and their businesses that they run and their clothing lines and their
but then there's other times when it's just, I don't know, it's really hard. But I always say though that if like if every man who did something disgusting to women were canceled the second they did something disgusting to women and had to stop working their jobs, like chairs would just start collapsing. Like everything around us would crumble. If all those things didn't exist that were built on like disgusting men's, like from
just a giant wind tunnel just goes, papers flying, everybody's being sucked out of their cubicles. Yeah.
But think of all the things that would exist if women weren't being preyed upon by disgusting men and held back systemically through the dawn of time by men, and still going through that. Like, what would the world look like if women were empowered and not like felt victimized sexually in the workplace? Who knows?
Yeah.
Like either, but I always like, I do feel like, God, fucking some bad men invent shit that it really makes my life easier. Bad people, like, you know, I don't know.
Look, bad people make good entertainment sometimes. There's a lot of
yeah, I just don't want it on the radio tricking me into being like, this is a bop, and then being like, no.
Yeah.
Because first of all, because I enjoyed it falsely. I thought I came from a place of thinking this person wouldn't hurt women. And then when I hear a guy who I know has hurt women and is kind of singing, I'm just like, oh, well, I can't trust this. This song is a
you can't enjoy R. Kelly. You can't.
I haven't watched his documentary, but the details I've heard, I don't want to hear a fucking R. Kelly song. And I'm not like, Ignition comes on, I'll try, like I can maybe hear old stuff, but don't give me new stuff from these people.
Well, Michael Jackson, what's your feelings on that? Never Again? That's a hard one, because you could just be in a grocery store and hear, like, you know what I mean? Like, are you ever going to be able to really not hear?
Like I said, the things you liked before you knew what was going on, even though a lot of people knew what was going on and still liked it back then, it was like the biggest open secret ever that he was molesting boys. I like looking back on it, it's like, you guys, I couldn't do anything. I was a kid when this was happening, but you guys all like laughed about this and talked about it on late night shows.
So weird.
And yeah, so him, I'm just like, was a song comes on, I really do disassociate, and I can get back to like who I was when I first heard that song and kind of enjoy it and forget. But yeah, I need to rewatch that stuff because I was really fired up about like the injustice those boys suffered and like how we all let it happen. But then you get into something like Epstein and you're like,
everything, wow. Yeah. Everything is child molestation.
Everything goes back to men wanting to fuck young girls.
But was it like this when we were kids? Like, because now every documentary, everything is this. You can't get away from this.
Yes.
It was like this.
It's just, we're just unearthing it. I mean, remember Spotlight, that movie about the priest scandal? Like, that's been happening forever. Men didn't just get more perverted. And this is obviously not all men, but I listened to a podcast called Hunting Warhead, and 4% of men, I believe is the number, please correct me if I'm wrong, are pedophiles. Wow. That's what they're 4%. It's not that they chose it. Obviously, no one would choose to be this way. And like, it's an interesting podcast series because it just like makes you look at the like whole system is like, how do we heal these people and make sure they don't hurt kids, but give them a place to tell someone that they feel this way? Or are they just so sociopathic about it that we can't trust them to behave themselves? And it's just...
And knowing that, does that make you not want to have kids? In a world that's like this?
I literally would just never trust a single adult to ever be alone with my child, like ever. That's what I got from this podcast. I'm not kidding you. Like no one. I would trust my dad because I grew up with my dad in the house and he never touched me. So like, okay, go play with grandpa. Beyond that, and grandma never, like, you do not know. Because in this documentary, like this guy is able to make child abuse images within 20 seconds of a mom leaving the room.
She left the room and he just started taking pictures of the kid.
No, of him. He was giving the child a bath and the mom went to go grab towels or something for 20 seconds. And
she walked back in while he was doing it, or she found the images later in life?
He got busted and they found the images and they were able to, they told this woman, practically the feds told this woman, like, you just look at some photographs to see if it's your child. And it was, and those images were, she remembers when he was giving the kids a bath, and she had a feeling not to leave them alone a long time. And she couldn't name it and she couldn't put her finger on the feeling. She just had this like, because it was her cousin.
Mother's intuition.
She like, it was her gut and she did everything right. 20 seconds. You think that's fine. Well, no, it's not, because he was able to do things and capture things, that will exist on these forums forever. But it's interesting because now they use it was a whole other issue on this podcast where they talk about like the ethical, the ethics behind using this imagery and posing as child pornographers or child sex abuse. That's the thing.
You can't say pornography anymore. Yeah.
No, it's child abuse image creators.
Yeah.
Harder to go about, but it's just child pornography puts it in the perspective that this is somehow an okay thing when really it's like, it's just child abuse, which I found very interesting. But anyway, they use those images to then catch these guys. And there's a whole debate of if that's ethical or not. But this woman was like, if that is what she was like, I think it's like the best thing that could come of it.
Yeah.
So it's a fantastic podcast. Again, it's called Hunting Warhead. I'm sorry to promote another podcast.
No, that's fine. I heard you talk about it on your podcast and I wanted to check
but
it
it's
out.
just like, you just realize when you hear numbers like that and you hear about the depth of the dark web and how many images are being circulated and new content is being made. I mean, it's so much more than we think it is.
Yeah.
And it's been that way for a while, I'm guessing.
Yes. Well, if you want content that is not related to child trafficking, you guys need to check out Nikki Glaser special, Bangin'.
Yeah, I don't think I should talk about child trafficking.
Which is because she doesn't traffic. What? You don't talk about it on that?
No, I don't.
Okay. So, because we're all hungry for content right now, obviously. We're going down child pornography. We're going down child trafficking rabbit holes, for God's sakes, looking for content. So I'm just trying to tell people.
I love that stuff, though. Yeah. If you want some lighter fare, there's Bangin', which is hilarious. Good special. But
how long do they keep banging up on Netflix, by the way? Forever and ever.
I mean,
I'm legit jealous of anybody that hasn't seen it yet.
Really? That's so nice.
You are about to see the funniest fucking shit for your quarantine pleasure.
Thanks,
Everybody
girl.
needs that right now.
I'm like, it's so funny. I just don't feel connected to that material anymore because I just haven't had sex in so long, and so much of it's actually not about having sex as much as it's about an exploration of what it's like to like come of age as a sexual woman, I guess. Oh my God,
I hate to break this to you, but nobody's having sex right now. We're in quarantine.
That's a really good point.
Even the people that are in relationships are not having sex, so don't feel bad.
Well,
it's all around. It's the quarantine blue balls.
I know, that's true. I need to hear more stats on that then to make myself feel better. But at least as a single woman, I can like masturbate and not like feel guilty about it. Like I feel like I would, if I had a boyfriend and I was like, we're not fucking, but I need something, I would feel kind of like I need to go like sneak away.
Yeah, you got to time it out for his, errand runs.
Yeah. And it takes me so long to like find the right clip and everything. Like my parents go for like a dog walk sometimes, and it's not long enough for me to get anything done, and then the dogs are back, and I just hearing them like clattering around the
kills it.
No, you can't fucking come to that.
I mean, didn't you used to have to come to your dog pawing at your door though? I think that would get you going again, like the old days.
I know, that's true. That was a Pavlov's dog moment that didn't last, but I did used to get like a little bit like aroused when I'd hear my dog scratching on the door because I would always lock them out whenever I would masturbate. So it like built up this like, it's
the worst whenever they want to cuddle with you and they're like, no, I went up on the bed. And you're like, all right, 10 more minutes.
I know.
You're like pushing them down. You feel
my covers and I will do it. Or Marion will be like next to me and I'm like, is this wrong? Like, is this implicating them? And am I like, is this almost like bestiality just having them here? Like that inappropriate? Is this going to scar them? And the truth is, nah, you can pretty much do it. They don't give a fuck.
They know. They know what's going on.
Though I did make a weird noise and like Luigi looked over and I was like, oh my God, I feel so uncomfortable like having you look at me. So weird.
He knew too. He's so intuitive. He's like, oh, really? That one, huh?
Oh my God. I know. you just hearing me, like he must not, that's probably why he ran away yesterday from me when I took him for a walk. He like disappeared for 5 minutes. He was just like, I need to let you know that I don't respect you anymore after what I heard you do the other night. Oh no.
Well, it was good catching up with you, girl. I don't
Yeah.
want to hold you for too long because I bet you have like 2 more interviews today.
I've already done one, and I had a call earlier. I do have to do my podcast because I recorded it before, and I really, I think I just said too much. I'm trying to like pull back a little bit and be more mindful about what I admit, and just trying to make the show more entertaining, because I don't ever listen to it, so I'm just always like kind of winging it.
Yeah.
And I think I just want to. I just. Do you ever do that? Like, do you take things over and over when you can?
Yeah, if I can and I feel like it's really boring, I've done that before. I learned that from you, actually, because you've said that. You've done that. And I'm like, nobody needs to hear this. This is like bumming people out.
Yeah, if you're just like I've sometimes had to trash an entire like 40-minute piece because one joke is so excruciatingly bad and I can't get out of it. And I literally feel like the dumbest person on the planet. And I have to scrap the whole thing because I'm like, no one can hear me be that unfunny. No one. It's not even cute how unfunny it was. It's just like sad and embarrassing. So I almost hate that aspect of doing solo podcasts because you can just do them over and over. But if I was doing it with you, I wouldn't want to waste your time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
maybe I'll have my dad on this one just to like keep me honest. And my dad's just had a gig cancel, so I think he needs like a little bit of a self-esteem boost because he was going to go play live, and I was like,
he can play on the pod.
What?
He can play on the pod.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go do that now. It's actually a really good idea.
So that is the You Up with Nikki Glaser podcast that you can find.
Yeah, hear me go talk to my dad.
You can find it anywhere. And you can, of course, find my podcast on Patreon, Here for the Hang. And both of us get pretty candid. I mean, we're just talking about our lives every day. Yours is obviously a lot more interesting than mine right now, but
it's not. I'm living with my parents, and I'm working a lot on Zoom. It's like so boring.
So tune into that.
Helicopter. Like, we don't get those out in the suburbs. There's no traffic to report, so we don't get those in St. Louis.
Oh, well, it's like Kuwait here, so that's just, I don't even notice it.
The military copter, yeah.
It could be an aerial protest. It's probably not even a traffic copter.
Yeah, I do hate the Little Mermaid, too. I'm angry about her.
Oh, my God. Nikki Glaser, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was so good to catch up. I love you.
Love you. Love you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.